Did you know that lobsters never stop growing? Like biologically. They just keep molting, shedding their shell, again and again for their entire lives. They get bigger, softer, then they harden up and repeat until one day they either die of exhaustion or someone boils them alive and dips them in garlic butter. And somehow, that is the most accurate metaphor for your 20s. Because no one tells you this, but your 20s are just one long, never ending molt. You shed identities, dreams, jobs, friendships, sometimes even who you thought you were. And if you don't, you suffocate, not physically, but emotionally, spiritually, slowly. No one gives you a map for this part of life, but I lived it. I bled through it. And these are the 10 harshest truths I learned on the way down. And then back up. Let's count down. 10. Nobody actually knows what they're doing. They're just better at hiding the panic. I spent so much of my early 20s thinking I was behind, that everyone else got some secret life manual I missed. You look around and see people getting married, launching startups, buying homes, getting promoted. Meanwhile, you're crying in the frozen pizza aisle, wondering if you're supposed to have an emergency fund or a therapist first. But here's the truth. Everyone is guessing. Everyone is winging it. Everyone is wearing some version of a mask. Even the people who seem calm, especially them. The difference isn't certainty. It's just who's learned to function in chaos. The faster you stop waiting for someone to show you the answers, the sooner you start writing your own. 9. Busyness is not a personality. It's a trauma response. You know those people who are always just so busy? That used to be me. I filled every second of every day because silence made me panic. I thought if I stopped moving, all the thoughts I was avoiding would catch up and eat me alive. So I called it ambition, hustle, drive. But underneath, I was just scared. And if that hits a little too close to home, you might be too. The truth is, we sometimes stay busy so we never have to feel. But real peace doesn't come from checking every box. It comes from finally sitting in the quiet and realizing it doesn't kill you. It frees you. 8. Some friendships won't survive your growth. That doesn't make them bad. This one hurt the most. Because nobody warns you that you'll lose people who once felt like home. People you thought would stand next to you at your wedding. But then, you change. They don't. Or vice versa. The inside jokes stop being funny. You have less and less to say. You're not mad, just misaligned. And suddenly, silence. You might try to save it, patch it, pretend. But forcing connection is like watering dead plants. Some people are meant to be chapters, not end games. Love them. Honor what they gave you. But know when to walk away. You're not abandoning them. You're choosing yourself. 7. Confidence isn't something you wait for. It's what you build by doing it scared. I waited for years to feel ready, to apply for that job, post that video, set that boundary. But readiness never came. I just got older and more frustrated until one day I realized confidence doesn't show up first. You go scared. You do the thing with shaky hands and a lump in your throat. You risk looking stupid. That's how you build real self-trust, one messy rep at a time. You don't become fearless. You become someone who does it anyway. And that person becomes unstoppable. 6. Your mind lies when it's tired. Don't trust your 2 a.m. thoughts. There was a night I sat in my car at 2:11 a.m., thinking about disappearing. Nothing had gone wrong that day. I had food, a place to live, people who loved me. But I felt gone. And I believed every thought in my head. You're a failure. You'll never make it. Everyone's moving on without you. But those weren't truths. They were symptoms. My brain was glitching. And if I had slept on it, hydrated, talked to someone, those thoughts would have passed like a storm. So if you're in that space right now, breathe. Sleep. Don't make permanent decisions in temporary darkness. It will pass. I promise you, it will pass. If you're still here, it's not by accident. Some part of you needed this. Maybe it's the part that's been pretending everything's fine. The part that scrolls through life feeling invisible, the part that keeps showing up for others, but feels completely alone inside your own head. If that's you, don't click off yet. The next 5 truths, they're the ones that cracked me open. Stay with me. 5. Comparison is a slow bleed that drains the life out of your joy. You open Instagram. Someone your age just bought a house. Another launched a business. Someone else got married, had a kid, wrote a book, and found inner peace by 30. And you? You're just trying not to eat cereal for dinner again. But here's what you don't see: their mess, their tears, their debt, their silent suffering. You're comparing your behind the scenes to their highlight reel, and it's not fair. Every time you say, I should be there by now, you dishonor where you are. You are not late. You are not less. You are walking your path, and it's allowed to look nothing like theirs. 4. Healing is not a destination. It's a lifestyle. I thought healing was a one and done thing. You go to therapy, cry a bit, read some books, and boom, you're fixed. But no, healing is nonlinear. It's learning the same lesson 10 times. It's reacting badly to something you thought you were over. It's crying in your car again and then laughing about it 2 hours later. You don't arrive healed. You live healing. You dance with it. You fall out of rhythm. And then you find your way back. Healing doesn't mean you're unbreakable. It means you know how to put yourself back together. 3. You will grieve people who are still alive, and it will hurt more than you expect. One of the most painful things I've ever felt is losing someone who didn't die. They just stopped being who they used to be. Or maybe I did. Either way, the connection snapped, and no one talks about that kind of grief. There's no funeral, no goodbye. Just this quiet ache for a person who still exists, just not for you anymore. You'll replay conversations, wonder if you imagined the closeness, and eventually you'll stop checking their profile. Stop hoping they reach out. And that's when the healing begins, when you let go of what was, so something new can begin. 2. Your timeline is not broken. You're not behind. You're becoming. Stop letting imaginary deadlines rob you of joy. I should be married by now. I should have a better job. I should have a baby, a house, a 5-year plan. Says who? Most of us are just repeating goals someone else handed us. What if your timeline looks different? On purpose? What if you're not failing? You're just being redirected. The world needs more people who bloom in their own season. Be one of them. Trust your timing. There's no rush. You're allowed to be a late bloomer with an unforgettable story. 1. You were never broken. You just believed people who couldn't see your light. Let me say that again. You were never broken. You were just surrounded by people who didn't know how to love you, or reflect you, or hold space for your weirdness, your softness, your depth. So you shrank, you folded, you disconnected from yourself. And now? You're waking up, you're remembering, you're coming back. That's what this whole decade is about. Not becoming someone new, but coming home to who you've always been underneath the noise. Let me tell you a story. I once sat at a red light shaking because I couldn't tell if I was having a panic attack or just finally feeling something for the first time in weeks. Everything in my life looked fine on paper, but I felt hollow. I didn't recognize myself, and I thought, is this it? Is this adulthood? Just pretending and scrolling and waiting for something to matter again? And then I heard this voice, not out loud, but deep inside. It said, this is the part where you wake up. And I did. Slowly. Gently. One decision at a time. I started choosing things that made me feel alive again. Little things. Then bigger ones. And eventually I started becoming someone I actually liked. If you're watching this and thinking, damn, that's me, then I need you to hear this. You're not broken. You're molting. You're not failing. You're becoming, and you're not alone. Now, if any part of this script felt like it was written just for you, do something brave. Drop a comment. No filters. Just say, the one that hit hardest was. Let's turn the comments into a wall of truth, a place where people stop pretending and start connecting. And if you know someone who's been quietly spiraling behind a smile, send this to them. You don't need to explain. Just say, hey, I thought you might need this. Because they probably do. And if no one's told you lately, I'm proud of you. Not for achieving, but for staying, for breathing through the anxiety, for showing up on the days you didn't want to, for being here right now with me. You're doing better than you think. You're not too late, and your story is far from over. Keep going. And if you need a sign, this is it.